Hello, dear friends. I hope you're doing really well. Let's continue reading. We are in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11. As the whole book of Deuteronomy, Moses is speaking to Israel, reminding them about God, about his laws and the statutes, and how they're going to do really good if they follow God. But if they forget about God, they're not going to do so good. They're going to perish. They're going to do really bad. So the whole book is about this. So let's keep reading. We're in Deuteronomy chapter 11. Let me get to the beginning. And there's each chapter, there are some things that seem repetitive difference, but we're going to see that each chapter has something new, some new information that we should learn. So let's read. Moses is speaking. You shall therefore love the Lord your God and always keep his charge, his statutes, his ordinances, and his commandments. Know this day that I am not speaking with your sons who have not known and who have not seen the discipline of the Lord your God, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his outstretched arm, and his signs and his works which he did in the midst of Egypt, to Pharaoh the king of Egypt and to all his land, and what he did to Egypt's army, to its horses and its chariots, when he made the water of the Red Sea to engulf them while they were pursuing you, and the Lord completely destroyed them, and what he did to you in the wilderness until you came to this place, and what he did to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the sons of Reuben, when the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them, their households, their tents, and every living thing that followed them among all Israel. But your own eyes have seen all the great work of the Lord which he did. You shall therefore keep every commandment which I am commanding you today, so that you may be strong and go in and possess the land into which you are about to cross to possess it, so that you may prolong your days on the land which the Lord swore to your fathers to give to them and to their descendants, a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land into which you are entering to possess it is not like the land of Egypt, from which you came, where you used to sow your seed and water it with your foot like a vegetable garden. But the land into which you are about to cross to possess it, a land of hills and valleys, drinks water from the rain of heaven, a land for which the Lord your God cares. The eyes of the Lord your God are always on it from the beginning even to the end of the year. It shall come about, if you listen obediently to my commandments, which I am commanding you today, to love the Lord your God and to serve him with all your heart and all your soul, that he will give the rain for your land in its season, the early and late rain, that you may gather in your grain and your new wine and your oil. He will give grass in your fields for your cattle, and you will eat and be satisfied. Beware that your hearts are not deceived, and that you do not turn away and serve other gods and worship them, or the anger of the Lord will be kindled against you, and he will shut up the heavens so that there will be no rain, and the ground will not yield its fruit, and you will perish quickly from the good land which the Lord is giving you. You shall therefore impress these words of mine on your heart and on your soul, and you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontals on your forehead. You shall teach them to your sons, talking of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk along the road, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, so that your days and the days of your sons may be multiplied on the land which the Lord swore to your fathers to give them, as long as the heavens remain above the earth. For if you are careful to keep all this commandment which I am commanding you to do, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, and hold fast to him, then the Lord will drive out all these nations from before you, and you will dispossess nations greater and mightier than you. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads shall be yours. Your border will be from the wilderness to Lebanon, and from the river Euphrates as far as the western sea. No man will be able to stand before you. The Lord your God will lay the dread of you and the fear of you on all the land on which you set foot, as he has spoken to you. See, I am setting before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, if you listen to the commandments of the Lord your God, which I am commanding you today, and the curse, if you do not listen to the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside from the way which I am commanding you today by following other gods which you have not known. It shall come about when the Lord your God brings you into the land where you are entering to possess it, that you shall place the blessing on Mount Gerizim and the curse on Mount Ebal. And are they not across the Jordan west of the way toward the sunset in the land of the Canaanites who live in the Arabah opposite Gilgal beside the oaks of Moreh? For you are about to cross the Jordan to go to possess the land which the Lord your God is giving you, and you shall possess it and live in it, and you shall be careful to do all the statutes and the judgments which I am setting before you today. So there are some things that we already know that Moses has been saying, but it's still, for me, the things that he's been saying about God, about keeping the commandments, about telling all the wonderful things that God has done to Israel, to their children. All the people should talk to their children about God and His wonderful things He's done and His judgment on all those things. All Israel should tell those things to their children in the day when they're walking, when they're sitting down, or when about to go to sleep. That's so important. I always forget to mention that, but it seems repetitive, but it's not, because Moses is speaking in such a way. I don't know if you can notice the way God is speaking to them through Moses. It's so, I don't know. It's very loving. That's what I can tell. But Moses says in almost every chapter some of the same things: to follow God, His commandments, to never forget God, and that's good. It's repetitive, but it's not. It's very important, and sometimes I don't know why, but we forget. People forget. I don't know why. So it's important. He's reminding Israel all those things: to love God, God with all their heart, with all their soul, to follow His commandments, His statutes every day, right? And there is also new information here, very interesting information. Two new things for me, at least. One is that God is telling them that the promised land, the land of Canaan, is not like the land of Egypt. It's different. The way Egypt receives water is not from rain. It doesn't rain in Egypt very much. It almost doesn't rain. So how do they get water? How come the Nile makes the soil fertile, right? Because we know Egypt was well known in antiquity because they had lots of wheat. It was a rich soil, right? The water they get is from the south of Egypt. I think from the country that's in the south. I think it's Sudan. There is a lot of water there, like very strong rivers or waterfalls, and there is a time in the year, or I don't know if it's many times in the year, that there is a lot of water that floods, goes downhill to Egypt, right? Because the south of Egypt is like higher. So this huge water from the south of Egypt, from Sudan, from the rivers, from the waterfalls, go to the Nile, and it floods the Nile, and that's how the soil around the Nile, it's very fertile. The Nile is like the only reason there is life in Egypt is because of the Nile, right? The Nile is so important there. But the way it's going to be in the Promised Land is not like that. In the Promised Land, in the land of Canaan, God is going to give them water through rain. Like the water is going to come from heaven. right? So I think it's like a contrast. I mean, the land of Egypt has water, that's great. Promised land has water, that's great. But the land of Egypt gets its water from below, from I don't know, from the rivers below. But the land of Canaan, the promised land, the land of Israel, gets its water from heaven, from God. God Himself is giving them water from heaven. And God is telling them that, if they follow God, they love God, they follow the commandments and all that, then they will always get the rains on time, right? For their crops, for their agriculture, for for what they're gonna eat, for the bread. But if they follow other gods, then they're not gonna get rain, and they surely will perish, right? And that's so interesting how those lands are different, how they get the water in different ways. The other thing that I thought it was interesting, and we're going to know more about this towards the end of the book of Deuteronomy, is that once they get into the promised land, they cross into the promised land, they're going to make this ceremony where some of Israel they're gonna go to Mount Gerizim, and the other rest of Israel are gonna go to Mount Ebal, and the ones from the Mount Gerizim, they're gonna read blessings. If they follow God, this good thing is gonna happen. If they follow God, this other thing, all the good things that's gonna happen to them. And then the people from Israel are gonna be on Mount Ebal. They're gonna read the curses. If they go to other gods, they follow other gods and they forget about God, then all these bad things are going to happen to them. Now, I always had a hard time understanding. I mean, I know what is a blessing and what is a curse, but I feel like I still don't understand what's the point between one mountain and the other mountain. Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal, both are in Samaria, by the way. But I read today something I thought that was really good. Is the Mount Gerizim, the mount where they're gonna read the blessings, means it's like a representation of the good way, of the way of God, the way that if you follow God, if you love God, if you obey God, the good road, the way that we should follow, just for us it's Jesus Christ, right? And Mount Ebal is the bad way, the way that we shouldn't go, right? The way of, I don't know, selfishness, the way of the world, I would say, right? The way we should not go, right? So it's a representation. The good way, the only way, is a representation of the blessings of Mount Gerizim, and the bad way is the curses of Mount Ebal. So we finished chapter 11. Hopefully we can continue chapter 12 tomorrow. Bye-bye.